How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the first in a brand new series of the Old School Weekly Recap. My name is Ronan, and I worked at Jagex for several years on the Old School team as a community manager. I recently handed in my JMod crown and left Jagex, but I'm happy to say that they've asked me to bring back this recap series here on the Old School channel. Every Friday, I will be here to get you caught up on the key events and announcements from the past 7 days. So with the introduction out of the way, let's get straight into the recap. This week's game update saw the launch of a brand new quest, A Taste of Hope. A Taste of Hope is the sequel to The Darkness of Hallowvale, and it takes you into the heart of the Myaki conflict with the Drakons. If you choose to aid the Myaki once more, you'll earn yourself 1 quest point, a 2,500 experience tome, a new weapon for killing vampires, and last but certainly not least, a new unlimited teleport which takes you directly to the Theatre of Blood. Whilst you don't need to complete A Taste of Hope in order to play the Theatre of Blood, being able to teleport directly to the raid will undoubtedly come in handy. If you are interested in the full details of the content launched this week, be sure to check out the main news post. There is a link in the description. Following this week's update, we also saw the launch of a new poll. The poll is to decide on the final design of the Justicia armor, one of the rewards which will be coming from the Theatre of Blood. And speaking of the theatre, late last week we saw a video in which mods Ayiza and Kieren gave some insight into the content. They took on everything from the theatre's lore, to its requirements, the content you might face, and the rewards you stand to gain. If you are interested in getting up to date in preparation for June 7th, be sure to give the full video a watch. As is often the case with major content launches in Old School, the login screen will be getting a temporary makeover come June 7th. If you think you have what it takes to make a beautiful and bloody login screen fitting for the launch of the theatre, be sure to enter the login screen design competition. You have until Thursday the 31st of May to enter, and the details of how to enter can be found in the recent Theatre of Blood progress update news post. And to finish off this week's Theatre of Blood related news, on Wednesday's developer Q&A, ModGhost revealed the last remaining Theatre of Blood boss, the Pestilent Bloat. He showed off this grotty character's walk animation, as well as showing some parts of a work-in-progress attack animation. To check out the full display alongside ModGhost's wonderful commentary, find the timestamped link to the Q&A in the description. Moving on from the theatre, on Tuesday an additional 12,000 players were invited to participate in the ongoing Android beta for Old School Mobile. If you've been waiting for your chance to play, make sure to check your RuneScape message center inbox to find out if you were one of the lucky 12,000. As always, be cautious when it comes to emails which claim to be from Jagex. All mobile invite emails will be accompanied by a message in your RuneScape message center. In the news post which announced this expansion of the beta, Jagex also addressed the current standing of an iOS beta. They explained that the Android beta has arrived first due to differences between the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store review policies. The App Store requires a 2-day review process, which is something that Jagex do have a solution for in the long term. Unfortunately, this solution is not yet in place. This means that each game update would leave the iOS build unavailable for multiple days. There is no set date for the next iOS test, but Jagex will keep the community informed as soon as details are available. Coming up in June is the Deadman Summer Finals, which will begin on Saturday the 23rd of June. You'll also be able to enjoy the conclusion of the tournament a week later on Saturday the 30th. On Wednesday evening, an update was posted regarding changes to the Deadman Finals. The core format will be remaining the same, with many of the changes from the most recent Deadman season being carried over into the final. There are also some brand new changes on the way as well, so if you're participating in the finals, be sure to go and give that post a thorough read. The news post went on to include details for the next season of Deadman. As much as I would love to go through these changes in this video, there are quite a few of them, and the nitty-gritty details are too important for me to skim over. If you plan to play in the autumn Deadman season, be sure to go and give the news post a read. On Wednesday, with great sadness, Jagex announced that RuneScape Classic will be winding down over the next 3 months. They explained that their tools have advanced to further support RuneScape and Old School, but in the process these tools have become incompatible with Classic. This has left the game open to abuse by those using macroing software. Jagex also stated the growing risk of unrecoverable game-breaking bugs as another key reason for taking Classic offline. The number of game-breaking bugs is getting worse, and these bugs cannot be fixed due to the unsupported nature of the game. So, for now, Classic remains alive, but come 8 AM BST on the 6th of August, it will no longer be possible to log into the game. Moving our focus back to the future, late last week the details for RuneFest 2018 were announced. Taking place on Saturday the 6th of October, this year's RuneFest boasts to be bigger and better than ever. The event will be held at the Farnborough International Exhibition and Convention Centre, meaning more space, more affordable accommodation, and better travel options. The famed RuneFest Night Before party is also getting sized up, and this Night Before party is going to be unlike any other which has preceded it. And that's thanks to RuneScape Live, a performance of many of your favourite RuneScape tracks from the Royal Philharmonic Concert Orchestra. If you're interested in going, tickets are now live, there's a link in the description, I hope to see you there. Next up we have the launch of this year's Summer Special. There's a few big months ahead for Old School and I'm sure you don't want to miss out on it. Grab yourself some 3 for 2 membership or tack on another couple of months with the option of 6 for 5. Of course, a link can be found in the description. And just before we get into this week's community spotlight, let's talk about the Summer Sweepstake. If you fancy winning a brand new Razer Blade Pro gaming laptop, head over to the Facebook competition found in the description and enter your details. And now let's take a look at the community spotlight. This week, rather than looking at a creation or an achievement of someone in the community, I want to kick this off by talking about the widespread third-party client discussion which took place last week. The discussion began with RuneLite, an open-source third-party client. Jagex had concerns with certain aspects of the client, specifically the distribution of a deobfuscation tool. Obfuscation is the process of making functional code extremely difficult to understand while it remains functional. A deobfuscator reverses this process, making code readable and easier to work with. Jagex's primary concern with RuneLite was the potential for the client and its deobfuscator to aid macro developers or to allow client developers to implement game-breaking features. As a result of this, they told RuneLite to stop development and to close the client down. In an update posted on May 16th, Jagex stated that they had been in touch with Adam, the developer of RuneLite. Jagex agreed to temporarily hold off on legal action, and Adam has since removed the deobfuscator from the RuneLite repository. Jagex have said that they are listening to the community daily, and they are seeing everything that's being said. They are going to talk with the community more as soon as they can. And one final note I would like to briefly hit on with third-party clients. Jagex have clearly stated that they will not be banning any players specifically for using third-party clients. So rest assured, that macroing ban you received last week was not because you logged into RuneLite, it was probably because you were clicking the same spot for 4 hours while you were stood next to Dominic Onion. And to round this video off, I would like to showcase Tuzkal Olm by Legend Arts. If either of these individual bosses weren't enough to tickle your fancy, the Tuzkal Olm would definitely do the trick. As always, just marvellous work by Legend Arts. And there we have it, the first episode of the new weekly recap. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? I want these videos to be the best that they can be, so please leave your feedback below and let me know what you would like to see in future weeks. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next Friday.